Hello, we are here at 7:30 in the morning at Booker Airfield in Buckinghamshire, England, to have a first look at the Edgley Optica. Now, this has been out for Flight Sim for quite some time, and I've just got around to buying it, and I have to say I have been blown away. I've taken it for a bit of a spin earlier in the evening just to see how it works before I show it to you. But I have absolutely been blown away by just how good this aircraft is. So if you've never seen it before, it's an odd looking thing. It did appear in a movie many years ago with Mark Hamill flying it, but it was bought by several police forces around the country in the UK years ago, and they used it for surveillance work. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic. And if we go and jump inside, you will see it's modelled absolutely wonderfully inside. Considering, all of these compound curves, I don't quite know how they've done it, but they've done it very, very well indeed. And the quality of the 3D modelling all over it is gorgeous. Okay, so let's go and get this thing started up and take it for a quick flight just to show you it. So we're going to turn the fuel to both. It's worth pointing out I've got the GTN 750 installed. There's a small download from FlightSim.2 that lets you have the GTN 750 over the Garmin 430 that would be in its stock, but they both work fine, but I prefer this one because it's easier and quicker to work with. Okay, so if we have a look overhead, there is the keys for the ignition up there, so we'll remember that. So we'll turn the batteries on, and obviously that's going to boot things up. So nav radios have come on, the GPS is initializing. We won't turn the generators on just yet. We don't need the fuel pump straight away. We'll go for the nav lights on, and we don't need taxi lights yet. That's the panel lights. They work remarkably well, by the way. I love that you can see the glass on the instruments, and they've got convex glass covers. Very, very cool. Okay, so to get this thing started, I need to go and change the profile on my controller, so bear with me a second while we go and do that. I've just been using the Airbus, so we're just going to quickly jump over and go and get the single engine, apply. Don't need to do that. Go back, resume. Okay, so if we go and look at the throttle throws and things, the levers are here, so we can push this forwards. We've actually got animated trim wheels, things like that, so everything's really nice. You get a nice indicator there of where the trim is, and with the flaps as well. Okay, so we've put the mixture to rich, and we are going to go and turn the key. We can actually see the keys are animated as well. So we have a running engine. If we look behind, if you didn't notice this when we got in, the engine is actually inside this huge cowl. It's a bit unique. So let's go and close the doors. Basically everything in the aircraft works, so you can open the small doors doors in the windows, and they affect the sound. It's really, really nicely done. So let's go and put the generator on. There we've got the engine running. Let's go and put the pitot heat on. Let's put the strobe lights on, and we'll turn the landing lights on just to see how much of an effect they have, and the taxi lights, and we should be good to go. We'll just get rid of this blinking message. It's just complaining we haven't actually put a route in. Let's take it for a quick spin, shall we? So take off flaps, come off the parking brake, open the engine gently, and we're rolling. Notice how low we are to the ground. So it's a bit like being on a skateboard, and it doesn't weigh very much either. So one of the things you will notice about this aircraft straight away is the visibility from it is second to none. So as I said, this is the GotFriends version of the Optica. There are two versions of it. There's the GotFriends version, there's also one that Orbex make. I think this one is vastly superior to the Orbex one. But then this one costs a lot more than the Orbex one, so there is a free version, or there used to be a free version of this doing the rounds. I'm not sure if it's still available. Okay. So it accelerates very quickly at full throttle. So 20 knots, 30, 40, we'll get to 50 and we'll rotate. So gently pull back and it comes off the ground very, very easily. Okay, so I'm going to pull the throttle back to about 80%. Put the flaps up. We'll just gently climb out, doing about 55 knots. Now here's the thing, look, we can look straight down through the side of the canopy. Like I said, the visibility is absolutely fantastic for sightseeing, and you can fly low and slow. It's kind of built for it. So this part of the world is what this was designed for flying along the motorways, doing surveillance work. So there's Booker Airfield, we can see we're leaving behind us. We can sit up in the seat and we can scoot around as we normally could. So while we're flying along, I'm going to show you this thing's party piece, and it's quite amusing. You can have your pets in here with you. So we've got the option, there's a cat, and it breathes, and you can see it's actually animated there gently. It's fast asleep at the moment. You can have it wake up. And we can also have a dog in the cockpit with us, and he's busy watching where we're flying, so he's our friend. They do have names if you look in the documentation. I can't quite remember their names. And he can sit up as well and look where we're going. So let's go and look from outside, and we can see there's Mr. Doggy, busy watching where we're going. And we can have both, so Mr. Dog and Mr. Cat. How wonderful is that? It gives it so much more character. Okay, let's turn back round and go and do an approach into Wickham and see how it goes. Well, before we do that, let's get a bit of altitude and do a stall test just to see how it behaves. I saw this earlier. It's quite violent when it does go, so we're just pulling up and up and up. I'm feeding in backstick now. No flaps, and it dropped a wing. So it's very easy to get back out of those situations, but it will drop a wing and tumble if you get below 40 knots. So we're going to start feeding the flaps back in. While we're flying along, let's have a look at it from outside. Notice the way the flaps extend is quite severe. It can fly very slowly. But yeah, the visibility is just ridiculous. Look, you can look straight down basically, directly underneath the aircraft. So just balancing it on the throttle to make sure we don't get below about 50 knots. Give ourselves some room to rotate, because obviously we'll lose a lot of speed as we rotate. And we're down. So let's just go for one more circuit just to see how it goes. Raising the flaps back to takeoff position as we go, and pull up. Raise the flaps again. And enjoy the morning sunshine as we turn back towards 60 degrees for the reciprocal for Booker Airfield. Let's just go and adjust the altimeter. I completely forgot to do that, so there we go, there's 60 degrees. So let's just trim it out and see how well it will fly when it's trimmed. So how stable is it? The answer to that is it's remarkably stable, even going over. There's a slight wind today, but it's very, very stable. Okay, so there's the runway. We'll drop some speed. Feed in some flaps. So we can scoot across the cockpit to see where we're going. It is remarkable though, isn't it? It's really nice to fly as well. Coming a little bit faster this time, instead of stalling it onto the runway. It doesn't like the angle of attack look at such low speeds. So there's a bit of a learning curve with operating it safely. And we're down. So we'll pull out onto the grass. So you get nice sounds of the grass rushing past underneath. It's been amusing actually this week looking at what X-Plane 12 is doing. It can't get anywhere close to what Flight Sim does with grass and trees, can it? It's stunning really what they've done. It's very, very clever. Should we cut across the runway to get there? There's a grass runway here. We're just going to ignore it. Go straight back to the parking. What's at Booker today? There's a helicopter, there's Cessna parked over there, there's a Mooney. Another helicopter. So let's have a look at this from outside as we taxi in. We'll go and put ourselves on one of the smaller bays here. If I turn and just miss the van with my wingtip, he's parked in a nice place, isn't he? Wonder how quickly we can turn this. Oh, look at the turning circle on that. That was close enough. Okay, so how do we stop it? Cut the fuel to the engine, and the engine stops, and then it's just a question of turning everything off. Taxi light, landing light, strobe light, nav light, pitot heat, generators off, batteries off, and fuel off. And then we can open the doors and let the dog out and the cat out, although the cat looks like he's fast asleep. Seems very similar to our cats. How cool is that? So that's the Edgley Optica, made by GotFriends in Flight Simulator. It's just over £20. I think it's brilliant fun, and obviously with GPS and the autopilot you can go flying and go all over the place. Brilliant. Right, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll see you all again soon.